Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Claw on the King podcast. I am Zoops, joined by my co-host Dopey. How are you today, my friend?
Doing very well. Obviously, a lot.
Are you?
Lot,
I mean, you shouldn't be.
well, no, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
The day's been all right. Yesterday, not so much.
Again, I think we've talked about this on this podcast. So if you want to research, I'm not exactly sure which one.
Probably episode.
But it was
25.
one probably a year ago because State of Origin was a year ago. But around this time last year, me and him were at the pub, and obviously he celebrated when Queensland scored a try in the middle of a New South Wales pub, which wasn't great for our public perception at that time point.
Funny thing about that,
So again, if his multi hit, he might be happy.
No, okay, so my multi didn't hit, but I was at work for the first half of the game, so I was watching the first half at work, and the guy I was working with put a multi on which had Queensland try scorers in it, and I was like, mate, I've got a funny story about this. I used to do that once upon a time, and
you got roasted to oblivion.
Yeah, so
yeah, maybe don't do that. What did he say? He was like, oh yeah, but I don't celebrate when they win. Did you mention the part where you celebrated when they scored?
No, he would have celebrated, but none of them scored, so it didn't matter anyway.
Oh, God, you just hang around the most imbecilic. I don't know if that's even a word.
He's a smart guy.
Well, he has no moral compass. But anyway, we're going to be sort of moving on to State of Origin. State of Origin, obviously, if you're not an Australian viewer, State of Origin is no. We accept all nationalities on this podcast, but yes, it's essentially the biggest NRL game or games. It's out of three, best of three games of the season, and yeah, it didn't go too well for us because we're Blues fans. The others, Maroons, won last night. I think it was 26-18 or something to that effect. Not a great day for us, if I do say so myself.
No, quite a disappointing day. I mean, it was flat out embarrassing, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, first off, playing in Adelaide was an embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, the field looks like a joke with all the circle. They were 12,000 off selling it out. I mean,
yeah, it was embarrassing. And also when I saw a video of like people taking videos from the stands, and they're so far away because it's an AFL and a cricket pitch.
It's like the SCG.
It was awful, and I just felt bad for the fans that travelled out there. If you're from New South Wales or Queensland, just to watch that, I mean, shit show to put it on in Adelaide. I mean, I understand the pull of putting in a neutral ground. I probably support it actually because it does give an unfair advantage to either team. I know it happens. You switch over year by year. Put it in
Melbourne. Put it in.
I know, but Melbourne, a lot of Queenslanders in Melbourne. Yeah, that's a bit unfair. But I wouldn't maybe do. I sort of Perth. I thought was a good one. They've got a state of the art new stadium. I thought that was a good atmosphere. They got. It's very new as well, so the lights that they do. I know that's a bit trivial, but just even something as simple as the lighting and the atmosphere around the game, I felt like it was good. And I know that may be because we smashed Queensland both times we played there, but it's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the fact that atmosphere with the new stadium, it's more built. It can take that sort of, even though it is built for cricket as well, you can play a rugby league game there. I don't think what is it, the Gabba? It's called. I don't think it was possible
That's the cricket place.
In Adelaide, yeah. Well, that's where they played at.
Is that the Gabba?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, no, Gabba's Brisbane, isn't it?
Yeah. Gabba's like Perth.
What is the Adelaide one called? I completely blanked on that. Anyway.
Adelaide, good one.
So, yeah, essentially, that's my sort of mini rant about the stadium and how it was in Adelaide.
Stadium less important, though.
Yeah, but more important was how we stunk up the gaff. Essentially,
yeah. First, we'll go at the coaches, and then we can go through each position and analyze their performance. But firstly, we got to start with the coaches. Obviously, Brad Fittler, you suck, mate, and you need to be fired immediately. There's just no other resolution to this. I mean, I don't think he knows what a G-up speech is. Like, I've never seen an Origin team come out.
Yeah, it's the anti-Wayne Bennett. Like Wayne Bennett is known for the ability to pump up a team and get them off to great starts or great second half starts. I mean, Brad Fittler is not really proving to be able to do that at this current juncture.
No. And he's being run circles around. You can tell Billy Slater is just a way smarter person than him, and he's just in his head. Like, you can tell Freddie's thinking, "Oh my God, I need to do this for this."
I just want to make a comment about it, just because I remembered it just then. I was driving. I went to work early in the morning, and I was driving, and I was listening to the Carl and Jackie O show. And obviously the sport news. Shout out to Carly Jackie O, the best radio show out there. But I was listening to the sport news, and I heard Brad Fittler say some ridiculous quote like, Nico Hines is definitely going to be playing this game. Nico Hines is definitely going to be... He's going to be all over the field. He's obviously very versatile. He can play number 9. He can play out on the wing. He can play fullback. If Tommy Turbo doesn't get injured, doesn't play. He sits on the bench the entire game. Yeah. Now, everybody and their mother knew that was the most bullshit-ridden statement you could ever fucking write. I mean, no way was he ever going to bring Nico Hines on. It was a waste of a substitute, first off. I mean, why didn't you at least bring like Damien Cook in so he can actually play? Nico Hines, we'll move on to the player-by-player. Yeah. But that Nico Hines decision, and then shifting out on centre, he hasn't played there since he was 16 years old probably, and he's shifting him out there, and lo and behold, he misses the try. Misses the tackle that leads to their game-winning try. Surprise.
It reminds me of Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo.
That's a weird parallel.
In terms of the mental warfare, and where Billy Slater's Conor McGregor, Freddie Fittler's Jose Aldo.
Brad Fittler has nowhere near the amount of talent as a coach that Jose Aldo did as a fighter.
No, but I'm talking about how he got knocked out in 13 seconds.
I know, but... No, I think that's a bad comparison.
No, I think that's a great comparison.
You've got to do a coaching thing. It's like... What would it be like?
It's like Alex Ferguson versus the Dutch coach.
What's his name? Sir Alex was the Dutch coach
that coached United for a bit.
Oh, Van Gaal.
Van Gaal.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's more. I think you could do better comparison to the NBA. It's like this Heat Celtics series. I think Joe Mazzulla versus Eric Spoelstra. Missoula's won a decent amount of games in the regular season, went up to the conference finals, but you could see in those games that they clearly got out-coached for probably 5 of those games. The Heat, unless it was and we'll talk about the NBA obviously later, but barring a miracle shot by Derek White that happened in the last minute, the Heat were the better team 5 out of those 7 games. So, yeah, I think it was just a clear coaching mismatch from Brad Fittler. His pick and selections. I mean, you could go player for player. I mean,
we'll do that.
Pangai Jr. I mean, everybody and their mother knew that he didn't deserve to be picked for the. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast. I probably didn't, but I know I mentioned it to someone, probably you. Look, he's a decent ball runner, but there is a definite flaw with him that everybody knows. He has an inability to defend as a team. He is way too selfish in that point. He's always running up or hanging back. He's ill-disciplined, and he'll make either a mistake in terms of throwing the ball away, or he'll clobber someone over the head. And you saw it last night. Can't remember what try. I think it might have been the second try. He's so late in the defensive line, and it forces the whole line to shift inwards. And then I think it was Cobbo that got an easy sort of walkover try. I can't exactly remember it because I did not watch the highlights back. I did not want to analyze that game any further than I had to. And it's just little things like that, just the selections that were so bad, as well as the coaching and the ski. Everyone seemed like they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, you've got 20 Penrith players in that team, and they had no idea how to play with each other.
I think he literally went to Nathan Cleary and said, I don't want to coach it. You do what you want to do.
Hang on. Can you just teach everyone what you do in Penrith?
What do you do at Penrith again?
Do you want to ring your dad up and just give us pointers?
I literally think that's what he did.
100%. In the meetings, they just put Ivan Cleary on a Zoom call and he just explained the Penrith tactics to them.
David was like, wait, unselfishness?
What?
We'll go through the players. Obviously, fullback. We'll start fullback. James Tedesco. This is the first time in probably 5 or 6 years that there is a little bit of chat around his position in the team.
Well, I think his standing in the game, he deserves to play out the rest of this. I don't think you can drop it. I know people are saying and look, he's easy to point out. He's easy to pinpoint and say, you're the problem. But the fact that they got to him, not just got to his position, basically, so many times, when they had so little ball in our own 20-metre line, is a joke. It was an absolute joke. I mean, the defense as a whole, and that comes to Brad Fittler as well. The schematic defensive scheme that I don't know if that's a schematic defensive scheme, but the scheme that they ran defensively, how disjointed they were, how unorganized they were. I mean, Joey Johns said after the game how bad New South Wales were, which I thought was And I just hated watching like the post-match coverage of just all the Queenslanders just talking about how great the Queensland spirit. No, mate, we beat ourselves. We were shocking defensively. This has nothing to do with your stupid spirit, okay? You can harp on about your spirit all day long. We missed tackles. We missed assignments. It was a terrible defensive performance. And I think Tedesco got a lot of the blame.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't be getting out
unjustly though
by Lindsay Collins.
Lindsay Collins is a foot taller than him and a very athletic guy.
Lindsay Collins is athletic.
Yes. I watch the Roosters week in, week out. The guy wins a lot of high balls in terms of batting the ball back.
No, you cannot be getting out jumped by Lindsay Collins.
I think he's one of the more athletic front rowers in the comp. I don't think it's that big. The fact that you watch every time we kick the ball, how many Queenslanders were stopping and blocking the New South Wales runners. I mean, we'll talk about Turbo, but his inability to jump on those were just shocking.
I think
you look at Coruscant, didn't block out in that. I watched that back, that playbacks specifically. You look at Coruscant was there. I can't exactly remember who else, but I remember there were a bunch of players around that just were ball watching. Didn't help to block out whatsoever. And I think Tedesco gets the blame, but I don't think it's his fault.
I think the thing with Tedesco is like he tried hard. You could tell he was pushing around the ruck. He was making decent runs half the time, but and it's sad to say, but I think to me at least it's clear that he has lost a step. Like he's just not the same as he was 3 or 4 years ago.
He was very dominant ball running. I think he was,
but he just doesn't have that same speed that he used to. And
well, I think it's harsh. I think how disjointed the attack was. I think nobody thrived there. So I think, but the only one that really
he's a big part of that. Like the halves are combining, and he's never out the back like where he needs to be.
I think the criticism on him was harsh. I don't think he was the worst by any stretch.
I don't think it was the worst, but I just think it was noticeable that he has lost a step.
Well,
to me at least.
Yeah, I have faith in him. I still think he's a great player. But moving on, I think to the wingers, To'o, I thought was really, really good. I thought his runs, you could see he was really, really damaging.
They say he doesn't care about New South Wales. The only one that looks like he does.
I don't. Who said that?
Everyone. They're like all the Samoans. They don't care about New South Wales.
Well, I think they were more referencing Luai, and I think that was one individual in particular who is now in a court case. But
To'o, great. Adokar wasn't great, really.
But it wasn't his game. He didn't have any ball. He had no ball. Crichton refused to... That's another thing. Crichton refused to pass.
Crichton wasn't on his side. It was Turbo.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Whoops. Well, Crichton still refused to pass, but we'll talk about him in a bit. But yeah, Adokar really didn't do much, but it wasn't his game. He didn't get any opportunity. There was no kicks. There was no, grubbers in behind the line to him, really. Running the ball back, that's not his
he tries hard, but he hasn't got the same power that To'o does. But, he's right. He should be there next time.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault.
Centres, controversial position, obviously. Latrell Mitchell withdrew with an injury very late. Stephen Crichton comes in. I thought Stephen Crichton was actually really good.
Oh, God.
That's not even controversial. He definitely was one of the best players.
That's like saying... you've got the best turd in the room. I mean, who cares? He was bad.
He was good. He made really good runs. He was he was bending the defensive line pretty much every time he ran it.
I think he scored the try.
Scored the try that got us the lead.
I remember multiple times that he refused. No, he was on the same side as.
No, he wasn't, mate. He was with To'o on the left.
On the left.
Yes, Adokar was on the right.
Was he?
Yes.
God, I can't even remember. Anyway, but he still. I remember there was an instance in the first half. His wing is wide open for the try. Reece Walsh is late covering. I give either Adokar or To'o the benefit of the doubt in that situation, but he refused to pass. He refused to take the risk. I think he didn't have a bad game, but he did not take any risks whatsoever. He did not make a significant play. He did not.
He scored the try that put them ahead with 10 minutes left.
He walked over. I mean, it wasn't really. It wasn't him. It was a lucky bounce off a kick where we had 3-on-1.
He was good defensively. He was putting shots on.
Well, I think defensively he was good. I think he had a solid game, but again, it was a game where he didn't stand out. He didn't, he didn't make a play.
He was pretty clearly one of the better players.
You watch the hammer. You watch those Queensland backs. They made plays, even though they may have made a mistake. You saw Cherry Evans drop a few balls uncharacteristically, but he made a big time 40-20. Even though Queensland made a mistake, one thing you do have to credit them on is their outside backs took risks, and more often than not, they came off. So, look, I think...
Yeah, okay.
But Crime wasn't the bad one for me. Turbo. I mean, I called it before the game. The guy can't run. Why on earth did we think this was going to be anything different? It was... You say Teddy's lost a step. This was blatantly obvious that Turbo had completely lost a step. I mean, it looks... If it was on FIFA, he would have had 98 pace last season. Now he's probably got 52 pace. I mean, he is... I've never seen someone lose...
He's gone from Ronaldo to Maguire.
Yeah, it's not... That's not even a joke. He gets outrun by front rowers. He gets outrun by... I can't remember. I saw a highlight this morning, actually, of him chasing down... I think it was maybe a man... I can't exactly remember. But he got burnt within the first 10 metres. I mean, the guy has completely lost it. Whatever this running coach in friggin' America's done is just completely screwed the guy. Yeah, he might get injured every 6 days, but at least he was an unbelievable player when he played.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he has got the Category 1 head knock, so he's not going to get another game before Game 2.
Thank Lord. Well, please don't pick him.
He'd have to be picked.
Freddie. Oh, he's bang on. Let's pick him again.
I do think you sit him for Game 2.
If Campbell Graham does not play Game 2, I mean, there must be some kind of...
I'd keep Crichton in.
And play him right centre?
Yeah.
Would you play... I mean, put Latrell left?
Yeah.
No, Campbell Graham is a way better player than...
I don't know if he is, though. I mean...
Campbell Graham was probably the form back of the competition this season.
Yeah, but that's not like... Stephen Crichton's right there. He's probably number 3.
Yeah, but Campbell Graham is a better player.
I mean, it's marginal.
There's no way. You've got to split up this Penrith fucking nucleus. You've got to. For my sanity.
Yeah,
pick Eisenhuth. Why don't we just pick the whole Penrith team? Pick Eisenhuth.
There was 9 players that either played
Surely
for
Fisher
Penrith.
Harris can
Well, Spencer Lenyu's coming in. We know that for a fact.
Can Spencer Lanyu play?
Yeah, and he should play.
Yeah, get Spencer Lanyu in. Just get everyone in.
Yeah. So
Hang on, why was Spencer Lanyu not picked over Tavita Pangai?
He was injured.
Oh, okay.
But he should be back and he should be in, hopefully. Okay.
So it's another Penrith player we can look forward to.
This is what I'd personally do for Game 2. This is another monumentally fucking stupid decision by Freddie. Stephen Crichton and Brian Toto play on the right edge every week for Penrith. And he goes, I'm going to put him on the left. Josh Adokar is a full-time left winger.
And he plays
and he puts him on the right. How do you come up with that sort of decision?
Combinations, bro. Combinations.
But the combination is on the right. And you've put it on the left.
Mate, trust me. We could do a whole 10-hour episode docu-series on Freddie Fittler mistakes.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the halves. Shocker. Absolute shock. To be fair, Luai wasn't the awful one. Cleary was absolutely dreadful.
No, he was average.
How many times on 4th or 5th tackle did he have nowhere to go? Did he just fling the ball out to the middle of nowhere and we just had to take a tackle? How many times did he screw up the 4th or 5th tackle? It must have been
there's not much. What do you want him to do? There's not much he can do.
He's the chief playmaker. He's supposed to be playmaking. We had a lucky bounce for the kick. What was the other? This first try, it was up to that Penrith convert.
Yeah.
What was the second try?
Second try was Appy knocked it down.
Yeah, it was a knock on by a lucky fluke by Appy, and the third one was just a lucky bounce from a kick. The fact that we created probably 1.5 solid chances when we had the ball 100 times in their 20-meter line, inside the 20-meter zone, is a joke. And that has got to come down. I know Freddie Fittler has got to take a lot of blame, but I mean, Cleary, it's a pattern now.
It's not a pattern.
It is. He either stinks it up or he has a worldie. That is, he is way too inconsistent. Bring Adam Reynolds in.
No.
Bring Mitch Moses in.
No. He's the best player in the world. He has to be in the team.
Not for Origin. He stinks.
No.
This is why
he wasn't even bad.
This is why you can't trust
he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad.
He was awful.
He wasn't awful.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
Just because he didn't knock the ball on 50 times doesn't mean he was good. He was half decent.
Look, Luai, there's a conversation about getting him out of the team.
There's a conversation.
Cleary has to stay.
There's a whole essay that you could bring that would be justified in terms of getting him out of the team. I mean, the fact that those two are still playing for New South Wales is an absolute joke. Cleary, you can understand why he's selected, but Luai, I mean, my God, he wasn't awful, But again, it was the same thing as Cleary. 4th, 5th tackle, had no clue what to do. Absolutely no clue what to do.
I mean,
just muttering around, doing his shitty little side steps.
Getting his hair pulled.
Getting his hair pulled again. What a surprise. I mean, mate, come on. Cut your hair. What are you doing? I mean, that one was a bit of an intentional pull, but to be fair.
Look, I'm kind of leaning towards Luai out for game 2. I think we just have...
You're kind of leaning towards it,
because this is what... Does he not realise... Does Freddie... The New South Wales people... Joey Johns doesn't realise this either. Does he realise Darren Lockyer and Jonathan Thurston didn't play for the same club team?
Yeah. Well...
Jonathan Thurston and Cooper Cronk didn't play for the same club team. What happens? They're the 2 best halves in the fucking world. You put them in the team, they make it work.
Yeah.
So, I think you have to put Hines in. Him and Nathan are the 2 best halves in the world.
Let's shift him into centre mid-game. Let's do that. That's a really good option. He's never played... He literally has played every other outside back position professionally other than centre.
Yeah. I mean, Hines can't be a bench player. I think... We saw it, if you remember in Melbourne, people were saying he was such a great bench player. He played the majority of that season as a starter because Pappenhausen was out. And then, if you remember, on the grand final, he was on the bench. He didn't get on the field.
Yeah.
Because he has no role as a bench player.
Yeah, he's not a bench player. He's a fullback or a starting... He's a starting fullback or a starting half.
Yeah, so I think you just have to give him a chance with Cleary and go, look, you 2 are the best players in the world. You should be able to make it work. So that's what I'd do for game 2, is bring Hines in for Luai. And
bring Anna Reynolds in as well. Get Renault in there.
No.
He has revitalised that Queensland that Brisbane team, sorry.
Which has inadvertently revitalised the Queensland team.
Well, yeah.
Because he's made them all good players.
That's not my problem. Well, he knows their secrets now. He knows their nuances. He can get them.
Moving on, the forwards. Absolute
Haas was good.
Payne Haas, obviously he has to be there. He's the best forward in the world. Tavita Pangai Jr., absolute fucking brain dead decision.
I mean, who could have predicted that he'd do a stupid offload on his own 20-metre line?
Who could have predicted
to give them a try?
Who could have predicted that he averages giving away 1 penalty every minute he's on the field? I mean, he gave away 5 penalties in his first stint. I swear to God. And it's just like, what are you expecting, bro? This guy's not. He's not even in the top 10 New South Wales forwards. I don't know. Yeah. How was he even sniffing an Origin jersey?
How did he even come? He's not even like. I swear at the start of the season, you heard the Bulldogs were like willing to get rid of Pangai Jr.
He's damn near out of the NRL.
Nah, he's good. He knows how to fight.
Freddie's like, I've actually been a fan for a long time. Shut the fuck up,
and he's
mate.
openly admitted that he's a Queensland fan.
I know. And he's, brother, he sings. And this is another thing with Freddie. He thinks it's a good idea to put all your good players on the bench.
And they came on. Lo and behold, we play well.
Dude, you lose the game when you start your shit players.
And then, guess what happens at the end of the game? He takes them all off. What happens? They scored 10 points again.
Yeah, it's just, And Billy Slater realised it. He's like, maybe I should start my good players. Let's bring Tino and Cotter on to start.
And then let's blitz them early on.
And Freddie's like, nah.
Let's chill.
So, I mean, Tavita, if he gets another shot, that's it. He needs to be probably assassinated.
We're not insinuating any of that. But yeah, he was bad. Coruscant, I thought he was busy, but the play the ball, I think the play the ball in general from New South Wales was so slow. I thought there was no real, and really only Toto really brought those quick play the balls. I did not see anybody else really. It was all so slow. I thought Coruscant, I know this is a minor criticism, but he was really close, it felt like. Like, he was always, like, up the arse of the person playing the ball. And it's like he had no move. You've got to give yourself some room to move. It always just feels like...
But that's probably because he was just tired a bit. But he was good. I mean, he came up with a try.
Yeah.
He was solid. He was good defensively, which everyone was saying, Cook is a way better defender, which is just stupid.
But, yeah. I mean, Haas and Coruscant were not to blame.
Then back rowers, another shocking decision. Hudson Young.
I don't think he was
sucked.
awful.
What? No, he sucked. He gave away so many penalties, just like Tavita. Offered nothing with the ball, pretty much.
Well, it was a terrible pick. Why the hell are we picking Hudson Young? Why?
And then why are you starting him?
Why?
Liam Martin is the best back row in the comp.
Liam, as soon as Liam Martin came on, he made an instant impact. He was, in my opinion, he was a player of the match for New South Wales. He was flying into tackles, making big hits, also he also scored a try. He was adding something going forward as well. Hudson Young, he had some big hits and he got in a couple biffs. But I mean, other than that, what the hell is he good for?
Giving away penalties.
He's just like Freddie picked the team based off like vibes. I don't I don't get it. Like, why would you just pick?
It's just mates rates. He's like, oh, Ricky, I'm mates with you. Who's good at Canberra?
Yeah.
Oh, you want Hudson to get a go? Sure thing, mate.
Sure. Let's pick just Panthers players. Let's just do that. Oh, Greg Alexander, you're a Panthers legend. Oh, I'm a Panthers legend. Let's just pick Panthers players. Let's just pick the whole Penrith team. Even though they're doing worse than they were last year, let's pick more Penrith players this year. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I would like to see Hudson Young dropped. I think you bring Angus Crichton in. Hopefully he fucking starts playing well. Or even bring Ryan Madison in. I don't know. Even though I'm not a fan of him, but I'd rather see Angus Crichton. Spencer Leniu, if he's fit, he comes in straight away for Tavita. If Regan Campbell-Gillard's fit, he comes in for Hudson Young, I'd say. And just start Junior Paulo and Payne Haas. It's pretty simple. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. Start Cameron Murray and Lee Mont in the back row. They're your two best back rowers.
Well, yeah, it's not rocket science. Who else? I mean, we talked briefly about the interchange bench.
Oh, yeah, the bench. So I think Burton has to be 14 next game. Because he can cover the halves and he's a fucking gun center.
Yeah.
Whereas Hines can't do anything.
Other than 6-1, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, it's just, look, overall, shocking game. And it was essentially a must-win because the next game's in Queensland. So that's great. Let's just lose.
Oh, yeah, the series is over.
Well, I mean, we have tonked them in Queensland recently.
Oh, I forgot about Jake. Jake comes in straight away if he's fit. But what was I going to say? How this happens every year. We lose, like last year, we lose game 1. Game 2, he picks the right team.
Yeah, picks the right team.
They win it, but then you leave yourself too much work to do.
And then, then he fucking does something in game 3 and we lose in the final minutes in Queensland, or some miracle Queensland spirit bullshit happens and then we lose. Yeah, I mean, surely he's got to be sacked, but he won't be, obviously.
Just give John from marketing the job. Just give someone the job.
Mate, honestly, if you did like on Twitter, you know how you can do voting on Twitter? Why don't they just do that?
Yeah, literally.
Just put out a poll of on the New South Wales Twitter account. Put all the people you're considering for each position. Let Twitter decide, and then pick that team. Guarantee it's a better team than what Freddie picks. 100%. Yeah, it was just an embarrassing thing to watch. You just knew it was going to happen as well. You just knew this. And as soon as fucking Cameron Smith and Fatty Vaughan are mentioning fucking Queensland spirit with 10 minutes to go, it's like, believe in Queensland spirit. This is where Queensland step up. And I'm like, no, shut up.
You got lucky that fucking Nico Hines was playing centre and got exposed terribly for not being able to
defend. How do you concede 2 tries in the last 10 minutes with 12 men
I don't know.
against 12 men? How do you do it? How is that possible? How do you get outnumbered on the flanks?
I don't know.
With one more player. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, we got to move on. This podcast will go for a friggin' 3 hours if we continue on this bullshit.
Yeah.
NBA Finals.
NBA Finals.
We can talk about that a bit. So yeah, obviously, Himmy Butler came through Game 7. More specifically, Caleb Martin came through Game 7. But yeah, I thought the Heat really, really performed in Game 7, obviously. And yeah, I think Boston were just a bit tired. I think they were a bit done. I think they were a bit
shit.
It was just too much to overcome at the end. To win multiple games away in a row, it's very difficult. And yeah, I was happy that the Heat went there. Obviously, you want the Heat to get there because you want Jimmy to get that ring. I think most people are pulling for Jimmy, but it's going to be a great final series. I can't wait to see Jokic. I think Denver's going to win easily, though. I have a feeling
they should win easily, but
well, it's not even because of the talent level. It's just I don't know who's going to deal with Jokic. I mean, is K-Love going to deal with Jokic?
Well, he's been getting DNPs, so
yeah. I mean, what's
Bam?
Cody Zeller.
The Heat are winning in spite of Bam Adebayo. I tell you that.
No, but he's great defensively.
Yes, he's great defensively, but I mean, he is Rudy Gobert offensively right now. This guy sucks.
I think in the last 3 games, yeah. But, I mean, in the first 3 games, I thought he was really good offensively as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's tough. You're going to need Jimmy to go back to what he was in the Milwaukee series if he has another performance. Like in the Boston series, he was okay, but he wasn't great. Let's be honest.
He rode with the team. When he played well was the first 3 games.
Yeah.
And they won them. And then he didn't play well the next 3 games, and they lost.
Yeah.
And he played well the last game. They won. So it all sort of falls on Jimmy's shoulders, really. But yeah,
Tyler Hero, he could be.
Do they want him back? I mean,
I know he could mess up all your rotation. And
you've got Gabe Vincent, you've got Caleb Martin, you've got Max Strus, you've got Duncan Robinson, who's performing. He didn't perform great, but he started well.
He's shooting like 50% from 3 almost.
He's playing well at this point. So, do you want Tyler Hero to come in and sort of take a lot of that ball away from those players?
Well, I think they're gonna need another person that can get themselves a bucket. Because the Nuggets.
Well, Caleb Martin could get himself a bucket. I mean, Gabe Vincent could get himself a bucket.
Not really though. He does. His contested shots aren't great. He hits his open ones, but like the Nuggets are they're loaded. I mean, Murray's a beast. Jokic obviously he can't defend. And
but is it too long a layoff though? Have they had too long of a layoff?
I do think they could get jumped on game 1. I do think that he could win game 1. And from there, obviously anything can happen. But
yeah.
The Nuggets are the better team, in my opinion, but obviously I want to see the Heat win, so...
Well, yeah, we're all pulling for a Heat victory, but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
What's your prediction?
Final Nuggets
prediction.
in 6.
Nuggets in 6?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Heat in 7.
Heat in 7?
I think the only way they can win is if it's 7. So, I always predict with my heart, so...
Well, it's weird, because in terms of altitude, I know it's a bit of a weird thing, but Denver's like the highest, Florida's like the lowest. It's kind of the weirdest.
Yeah, well, being low doesn't really give you an advantage.
Yeah, I know, but in terms of like difference of like altitude, and you see Paul George on his podcast saying how difficult it is to play in Denver and how different it is. I mean, imagine the difference going from that high of an altitude to that low of an altitude. It's a bit weird.
I forgot what I was going to say.
All right, cool. So moving on.
We'll do like a review of the teams that lost. I mean, a bit late for the Lakers, but haven't said anything about it. So, but we'll start with Celtics. I mean, most people are saying this is a disappointing season, which is probably fair enough. They should have won at least the East from how it all shaped out. Jason Tatum, I mean, he did roll his ankle in the last game, but he wasn't great. Jaylen Brown, again, wasn't great. Apparently, they're going to have to pay him $300 million if they want to keep him, which is a big contract, but you probably have to do it at this point. Joe Mazzulla, I mean, when they went 0-3 down, he was bags were packed. He was getting the sack, and now brings it back to 3-3. He's done enough to keep his job, apparently.
No way.
He's definitely not getting fired, but
why?
I do think he's not a great coach.
Why are they keeping him?
Because it's weird to sack a first-year coach.
But he was shooed into the role anyway. He wasn't even supposed to be the coach. He was like the 4th assistant. He wasn't even like the second in charge.
And I kind of just hate him because of how he talks to the media.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's just like...
He gives like 2-word answers like he hates them. It's weird.
Yeah, and you haven't like won anything to like warrant it. Like you don't have the respect. Yeah. You're just an arse for the sake of being an arse. But I don't know how you keep him, honestly. I know Monty just got swooped up by the Pistons this morning.
Nick Nurse going to Philly.
So the two probably...
The Pistons?
Yeah.
Monty Williams going to the Pistons?
Yeah, it was like a 6-year, $72 million deal.
Why?
Well, I think he's good. He's a good development... I don't know. He's a good development coach. I think those two are the most sought-after head coaches in the league.
Well, you got Doc Rivers.
Baker, mate, if you're going after Doc Rivers, I mean...
Reunion.
God, imagine. Could you imagine if he went back to this? No, I think there's zero chance that happens. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what sort of happens with Boston. I think they keep the same core. They're under long-term contracts anyway. I don't think there's going to be much change. I don't think there isn't much need to make much change. Look, sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. I know probably Jason Tatum's, I think, lost, 4 or 5 Eastern Conference Finals already in his career. Which is a bit embarrassing.
But he is making it to them every year.
But he's making to them. But it's starting to be a bit of a trend. So yeah, not great for him. But look, I think you've got enough talent there, and you just got to go again. I think with a better coach. But obviously they're not going in that direction. It seems like so. Yeah, I think Celtics will be back competing next year. So I don't think there's much to worry about.
I mean, they should be. Lakers, on the other hand, we who knows what could happen next year.
Well, apparently D'Angelo Russell's in trade. Signing trade rumors.
He absolutely lost his max with the way he performed in the Denver series.
Yeah, he lost his contract.
Yeah, hell yeah, he did.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Before that, he was a bee's knees, and then
he was just absolutely horrific. But I mean, if LeBron James retires, we are fucked.
Oh, mate, I think you're fucked anyway. But you are still fucked if LeBron James retires.
Just please, LeBron, just play one more. Give me one more year.
Well, that's the max you're going to get out of him because Bronny, he's going to go wherever. If he doesn't, he'll go wherever Bronny gets drafted.
Just give me one more. That's all I need. But the main takeaways I had from the Nuggets series is Darvin Ham cannot coach. I don't think I saw him draw up one effective play in 4 games out of a timeout when the game was on the line. Absolutely nothing to draw up.
Yeah,
and I mean, we lost game 3, which is the game we should have won. We had it we had them on the ropes. 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We were up by 1, and he decides to take LeBron James out of the game for a rest, and they proceed to go on a 10-0 run with him on the bench, and then we lose the series. So, I mean, Darvin.
No, but you always, yeah. I mean, you were never really in that series, even if you win that. No, game, but you're still losing 5.
But there was a stat that it's like I think it's the closest sweep ever in terms of point differential.
Oh, but you were so bad in the clutch.
We were, but the games were close until the clutch. But I mean, D'Angelo Russell, yeah, you are a joke, mate. I mean, you are dead set worse than Westbrook as a player. I think, even though you used to be better than Westbrook and now you're worse than him.
I don't think he's worse than Westbrook. I mean, Westbrook on the Clippers when Westbrook was by himself, he's a very good player.
Russell could not. I think he made 1-3 the entire series or something. I mean, he was absolutely putting up bricks.
I thought Schroeder was terrible as well.
But Schroeder's good defensively. At
Is
least.
he?
Russell's a cone.
How many times did I see that guy get brushed by? Because he's good at stealing. I think he's.
Yeah, but I think he's an awful. Russell is a cone. He actually just stands there and puts his hands in the air.
Yeah, I guess.
Anthony Davis also. How can you go from being the best player in the world to Rudy Gobert after a night's sleep, and it's a routine? Yeah. It's like he missed that many layups. I could not believe it.
I just don't think they have the offensive weapons. They just don't have.
Well, they should.
Should they? Anthony
Davis severely underperformed. Russell severely underperformed.
But is Russell really ever been a consistent scorer in his career, other than Brooklyn? Maybe
he should be averaging at least 15.
Look, that's fair, but I mean, he would have probably averaged 15 if he started. Started all the games. Sorry, and if he played enough minutes, even Darvin Ham realized that he wasn't making a positive impact on the team.
Yeah, I mean, the only shining lights is Rui Hachimura. He turned into Kawhi Leonard Jr., which was nice.
Say that, mate.
He was fucking great.
He wasn't Kawhi Leonard
Jr.
If Junior means 20 less points a game, yeah.
He averaged 20 pretty much.
Yeah, Kawhi averages 40 in the playoffs.
No, he doesn't.
Have you ever seen Kawhi in the playoffs?
Yes, I have. He doesn't average 40.
He basically does.
No, he doesn't. But yeah, Rui, we have to keep Rui. Austin Reeves, he was great. We have to keep him. The rest of them can fuck
Can
off.
Austin Reeves, can you keep him? Apparently, the most you can pay him is, I think, 50 mil. Is he going to...
50? Surely he takes that.
Well, he can demand more than that. Surely,
He loves the Lakers, though.
Does he love it, 30... I mean, he probably could get an $80 million to $90 million contract.
No, he loves the Lakers.
Okay.
Bet on that, Tristan Thompson was on that roster.
He was playing.
Tristan Thompson was better than AD in Game 4.
No, he wasn't.
Bro.
No, he wasn't.
Bro, Anthony Davis was horrific.
He was bad offensively, but I think defensively throughout the series, he even though Jokic scored a lot.
You're fucking meant to be the top 5 player in the world. You can't just go, I'm doing stuff defensively.
Him into that. He's not. Stupid Laker fans think he is. He's not.
He has the potential to be that. He should be that.
He's friggin' 30 years old. What do you mean potential?
Yeah, and when he's at his best, he is that. But he's just never at his best for long.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of player he is. Yeah, I think this was a max the Lakers could have done. I know you were
I think we could have won.
No way.
I think we could have won.
No way.
Better coaching and better performances.
No, yeah, better performance. You can't have your third best player be Rui Hachimura in a championship team.
I reckon he's a good player.
If he's your third best player in a championship team, you're not a championship team. Let's put it that way.
I don't know.
I know. I think most people know.
What would you have said if Gabe Vincent's your third best player? You could be a championship team.
He's not the third best player.
Well,
Caleb Martin is. Caleb Martin is playing.
Okay, even Caleb Martin before 4 games ago, if you would have said that.
And even
laughed out the room.
then, he's not. You could say you've got guys like Kyle Lowry in that locker room. You've got guys like,
Kyle Lowry.
Max Strus is a real... I know you're saying that, but also the Heat are just a better winning team. They're just a more winnable team. They're just a more likable team. They win more in the clutch situations.
A more likable team? What does that have to do with it?
I don't know. But all I'm saying is they're a lot more clutch of a team. They're probably the most clutch team in the league. So
they have a lot more clutch of a player.
They fill up the holes in the talent
because
of how good they are in the clutch.
Yeah, we should get Jimmy.
You should get Jimmy? How are you going to trade
AD for Jimmy?
Well, he came out with quotes this morning that he's only going to ever play in the Heat jersey.
Well, they could trade him. I mean, he doesn't have much say in that.
He might have a no trade. He might have a no trade clause.
Probably not.
Probably not. Maybe. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Premier League. The season just wrapped up.
Season just wrapped up. Yes.
United got third.
United got third. Get in there, lad. Champo's back.
Good result.
Champo's back at Old Trafford. Great season overall. Winning the Carabao Cup. Potentially the FA Cup is coming up this Sunday, I believe. Which is against Man City. Probably going to lose it, but we need to stop them from winning the treble, so it's very necessary.
Well, they might lose Champions League.
Doubt it. Really doubt it. So it's going to be a really interesting game. Hopefully we win it. And I can't wait. It's going to be a great... And also, in terms of transfer news, there's been a lot of rumours going around because the season just finished. In particular, Man United, linked to Mason Mount. Apparently he's agreed personal terms. Chelsea midfielder... Much? Well, he doesn't say how much his wages are.
No, but how much are they buying it for?
He's rumoured around 60.
60? Oh, I mean...
Around there. I don't think he's worth that.
I mean, a year ago, he probably would have been 100.
Yeah, well, a year ago, they wouldn't have sold him under any circumstance, but I think he's the one pushing for the move. He wants to go to United. He's made that clear. It's a bit of an interesting one. His form has been terrible this season, so it's a bit of an iffy sort of situation to be paying that amount of money for a guy that's not in great form. But you could say that about the whole Chelsea team. I think even players that people rate universally haven't played well or haven't performed for Chelsea this season. So it's an interesting one. I don't mind it because it's a different midfield option.
Where does he play? Does he take Eriksen's spot?
I think he can play. I think he can play a mix. I think he can play that number 8, but he can also push up as well. Play that Bruno role.
He's more of a 10, isn't he?
Well, he is and he isn't. I think he sort of rotates in between the 10 and the 8, which I think is pretty valuable for us. We need more midfield options. Apparently, McTominay's linked to a move away, which is fucking fantastic.
He'll never
Fred's linked to a move to Fulham, actually.
Fulham? Didn't they get relegated?
No, they survived the 10th. So I think they're linked with him. Hopefully we can ship those 2 Muppets out and then we can get a couple more options in. So, look, you'd hope for probably better players or players that are more in form. But he's a solid midfield option, and hopefully the Qataris can take over and get Neymar, who's also linked. So that's
to United.
Yeah,
I did see that actually. Apparently Casemiro was recruiting him.
I think it's more of a situation where he's pushed. It's coming from his camp. The
Neymar.
news,
but he's wanted out for PSG for years.
Yeah, I think Neymar wants to go to Man United, but I think the rumours that Man United are interested in him may be a bit false.
They should be.
Yeah, but I think they just recently got burnt by Ronaldo. I think a guy that's
but they would have made a lot of money on Ronaldo.
Yeah, but Neymar is very injury prone. He's very old. He's not very
31,
old, but he's very injury prone. And they've also paid a lot of money for wingers. They've got Sancho, they've got Rashford, they've got Antony. I don't see it personally. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but surely you still want him at the club just for the novelty.
Yeah, but we said that about Ronaldo. And it turned out to be the most toxic situation ever.
It's still good to see him back.
Yeah, look, it depends. I look, if we sign him, I wouldn't be mad at all, just for vibes. But
just
again,
for vibes.
He'd play every 3 games because he's just constantly injured at this point in his career, which is sad because of how talented he is. But yeah, we need to be targeting midfielders really, and a striker. Harry Kane linked.
Surely he leaves.
I think he wants to leave, obviously, but I think Spurs don't want to sell him at all. I think there's no...
Why? It's just like Luke Brooks at the Tigers. It just has to be ended.
No. Are you comparing Luke Brooks and Harry Kane? Harry Kane scored 30 Premier League goals.
I get it, but it's like Harry Kane can't do anything more there, and the Spurs just are going to suck forever. So
yeah, well, it's interesting. Well, they're actually linked to the number one betting odds favourite for the new Spurs manager. Can you guess who it is?
Jose.
No.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
No. Ange Postecoglou.
Whoa, really?
The Australian manager.
Wow.
Yeah, he's done a great job at Celtic. He's won back-to-back leagues with them. So he's linked with them. I think Spurs are interested. I'm not too sure if he's going to move over. He should, because it's a great opportunity for him. But
he used to coach Socceroos.
Yeah. Good input. So yeah, he's linked to the Spurs role, which will be interesting to see if that sort of materializes. But they're having real trouble right now getting a permanent manager in. Or convincing a manager to come. I think they got rejected by a couple of managers already, which isn't great. But Chelsea officially announced Pochettino.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
wait, they had Lampard, right?
Yeah,
he was just for the season.
He was just for interim, and his press conference, he was just literally bagging out the entire team. It was like, really? when that news hit of Pochettino coming, he's like, well, good luck to him. good luck, bro.
What they finished, like 11th or something?
Worse, I think. I can't exactly remember. It might have been 12th or 13th.
They were awful.
It's horrendous.
It's probably the worst season they've ever had.
Well, and their squad is such a mess. I mean, that's why they're selling Mount. That's why they have to sell all of these players, because they've got to trim the squad. They've got way too many players, and they need to bring in more players because they don't have a striker. I mean, their wingers are shit. You need a goalkeeper as well. They don't have a good enough goalkeeper.
Isn't Mendy
No, he's been terrible this year. He really fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So yeah, they need an elite level goalkeeper and striker. So they need to sell players. They've already got way too many players. So Mount's looking like he's going to be out the door.
Didn't they just sign Rudiger?
Kovacic.
Isn't he a beast?
Who?
Rudiger. No, not Rudiger. Koulibaly.
No, Koulibaly was terrible this season.
He was so good before.
He was very highly touted in Napoli, but he's probably been, if you were doing an underwhelming XI or 11 this season, he'd be in it. He's been. Right. He hasn't been awful, but he's nowhere near lived up to the expectations. But yeah, they're selling obviously Kovacic, their other midfielder. He's being linked to Man City now, so he could be going to Man City.
Third stringer at City.
Well, I mean, Pep has a history of turning these players into fucking legends. I mean, Gundogan was a decent midfielder before he got to City, and all of a sudden he's like one of the top number 8s in the world. So I would be surprised if Kovacic, becomes an unbelievable player at Man City. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's all the news is happening right now. It's never a dull moment in football. When the NRL season's over, when the NBA season's over, there are periods where it gets a bit dull, especially NRL. NBA, you get the obviously draft and free agency, but there are also periods in between when that happens. Football, there's always transfer rumors, there's always some kind of news, there's always new managers coming in, there's always some kind of news in football because the transfer window really goes up past the season. It goes up until the first month of the season. So it's quite an interesting sort of saga, and hopefully Man United get some more players in.
Yeah. Congrats to Newcastle as well. Top 4.
Top 4, Newcastle.
First time.
Can you stop clicking with your freaking AirPods?
Well, you don't have to look at it.
Yeah, but it's annoying me.
When's the last time they made top 4? Like 20 years ago?
Oh, yeah, it would have been under the Alan Shearer days. So very, very, very long ago. But yeah, they just clipped it over Liverpool. So that's obviously great news for them. They'll be playing Champo, and they've got a really good team. They could sort of move on and surge next season. They've got Isaac, who played unbelievably. He's kind of built like you, to be honest. He's a very lanky, sort of gangly player. Probably how I imagine you would play football.
Right.
But very skillful. Very, very skillful. He's really performed.
He used to play for Real Sociedad.
That's good ball. Where'd you get that from?
FIFA, obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a very good player. And he's really performed since he's come into Newcastle. So yeah, interesting sort of seeing Liverpool looking solid. I wouldn't say they're fantastic, but they're linked with the
big achievement for anyone outside the Big Six to make top 4.
Yeah. Well, they're linked with the Alexis McAllister. Liverpool is. He's a Brighton player who won the World Cup with Messi. So yeah, interesting sort of news, and obviously the more the transfer window progresses, the more news we can sort of share if it's confirmed or strong rumours. But yeah, end of the season, Champions League finals coming up soon, FA Cup finals coming up. You're watching it with me. So yeah, it's very interesting.
So what? It's Inter versus City.
Inter versus City Champo final. Roma and Sevilla played this morning, Europa League final. Funny enough, Sevilla had never lost a European final, and Jose had never lost a European final. But Jose ended up losing. So Sevilla won again. They just own the Europa League. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we should have won it.
It's Jose at Roma.
Yeah, Jose's at Roma. He's actually, funny enough, linked with a move to Paris Saint-Germain. Right. Which is quite an interesting move in his career. And he didn't sort of dispel the rumours in his press conference. I don't know if he did it in the press conference prior to the game or a different sort of media outlet.
But I just feel like he would clash with all those players.
But he's also a leader in that locker room. They've sort of lacked that strong leadership in that PSG locker room to guide them around. I don't hate it, but I do think he's kind of washed as a manager. But we'll see. Your nan could win the French league with PSG. So
yeah, but that's not what they're trying to do, is it?
Well, that's the thing. He's great in cup competitions. He's dragged Roma to 2 straight finals. So he's still good in cup competition. He's just the league. He shits a bed in most teams that he's in. So yeah, interesting. Hopefully, he goes to that PSG job. It's great to see Jose at the top of football.
Is it?
Yeah, he's such an entertainer.
What's the thing he said? Like, is the meme that went viral? I prefer not to say.
I prefer not to speak.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many memes that he sort of, and quotes that he's put out in the media over his career. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's the best option for them, but he probably would be keen on the move. But yeah, moving on.
Quick F1 little chat. Obviously, Monaco went down last week.
What a fucking... I mean, I had so much hope there at the end.
It is, I know, yeah. Monaco is like the Wimbledon, the Masters. It's like the pinnacle of the Formula One world, the most prestigious race, but it is also the most boring race.
Stop for. How about we let the viewers guess who won? If you haven't watched it, just take a guess before we say who won.
Have a guess.
3, 2, 1. All right, we've given you enough warning. So Max Verstappen won. Surprise. What do you reckon the odds were for him to win that? Especially after he won,
like $1.20.
Could you even bet on that?
He nearly bottled quali. I mean, qualifying was actually the interesting part.
Well, it's always close.
Part no, but normally he wins by a second. But other races this year, but he barely won qualifying, but he did pull it out on the last lap, obviously. But yeah, it's pretty much impossible to overtake in Monaco. So if you get pole, you pretty much win the race. There was a little bit of rain at the end, obviously, which did spice it up a bit, but it wasn't enough for people to start crashing, so it didn't really do much. Alonso got P2, though. I mean, he's doing very well this year. A lot of podiums.
And Lance choked it.
He choked it.
Alonso did.
How?
When the rain came, he fucking pitted on dries.
But he didn't lose a spot, so it didn't matter.
He lost second. If he would have pitted and put the inters on at that point, he would have been... Max Verstappen was slipping all over the place. He could have easily picked Verstappen. Easily. He would have been... If he wouldn't have been in front of him, he would have been 1 second behind him.
Yeah, but then Verstappen just would have pulled away again.
No, I don't think so. He honestly choked that so hard. He had to pit twice in 2 laps.
Yeah, but he was...
he pitted on dries when it was pissing it down with rain.
He was never going to catch Verstappen.
No, he choked that. He could have absolutely...
Well, it was the team.
Usurped him.
He was questioning it, and the team was like, no, Slicks is good.
Well, who's running? Fucking Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll, absolute joke. What did he finish? Like 16th?
Yeah, he's awful.
The same with Perez, mate. He is in trouble. Danny Rick is coming for that seat.
Is he? He's like number 2 in the championship. He's like the only one competing with Verstappen.
He's number 2 by about 100 points. And if you're in a Red Bull and you come 17th and you crash out in qualifying and come last, that's a problem.
Yeah, but it's also Monaco. It's very... I think, did he crash at Monaco another time? I can't remember exactly, but
Leclerc crashed last year, I think, but...
Monaco's a very tough place. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, but...
It's very... You get caught... If you make a tiny mistake, you crash like that. I think they're definitely going to keep Perez for it. I don't know why you think Danny Ricciardo's going to get a seat.
No, next year he's going to get the seat.
Oh, next year. But did you see... there was a lot of memes or TikToks going around of, like... Because obviously Verstappen, Sainz was drifted around a corner into, just barely missed the wall, and there was like a smooth operator behind it. Here's a smooth operator, it's just like skirting around.
On the slicks when it was raining.
Yeah, he's drifting away.
Ferrari, I mean, they were mid. They're just in a world of pain, really. Mercedes, they're mid as well. I mean, it's literally a race between one, which is kind of disappointing for the season that there's no championship battle, but I don't know. I did see a thing that Lewis is linked to Ferrari, which was weird.
Well, I think he could go there.
I don't know why.
Because Mercedes are shit.
But Ferrari, they're the same.
Yeah, I guess. But it's like the Alonso thing. He probably looked at the investment or the future plans that Aston Martin had. Because a lot of people were like, what the fuck are you doing leaving Alpine for Aston Martin? When Alpine looked at the end of last season looked like a really solid car, but he probably did a bit of research, looked at what they were doing, look at the types of improvements they were going to make,
and if you watch,
he obviously made the right decision.
Yeah, and he kind of like fucked over Alpine because it was in Drive to Survive, obviously, and apparently he basically like said, "Yeah, I'm going to re-sign with Alpine," and then like the day later, it came out that he signed with Aston Martin.
Well, that's the classic Alonso, but I think he could have easily won that race, easily. I don't know.
I don't think he would have won.
That was set up for him to win that. So he would definitely be in 50-50 chance, in my opinion, especially in the wet with everyone slipping around. He could have, especially with his trickery, with his experience, definitely could have made a decent challenge for that race, but just killed it. I mean, do the math. He pitted twice.
But Verstappen,
in 2 laps, and he ended. I think by the time he came out of his second pit stop, he was 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, but Verstappen.
You do the math. I mean, how long's a pit stop take?
Verstappen's coasting the last 20 laps.
No, but when they were doing the pits, though, when they were just pitting, Verstappen was slipping all over the place. And I think he was coasting because he realized Alonso was 20 seconds behind him because he pitted twice.
Yeah, but he allowed.
I mean, Verstappen deserved to win the race.
He was allowed to stay out an extra lap on the slicks because Alonso pitted onto the slicks. Like he would have come straight in onto the inters. Otherwise.
I don't know. But yeah, that's Monaco for us.
Hopefully it's better this weekend. Barcelona.
Vegas.
What?
I thought it was Vegas. Barcelona, Vegas. Great. It's another Max Verstappen win we got to look for. It's so uninteresting at this point. Like, who gives a fuck? I mean, who cares?
You never know. Someone could be good.
We literally had rain in the middle of the race, and everyone was slipping and sliding with a lot of crashes and people going on. I mean, how many times is this going to happen? And then Max Verstappen still wins. He's got such a stupid car that it's not even fair. That it's not even if the rain hits or there's a friggin' red flag with 1 lap to go, he'll still win.
Yeah, I do think they need to look at tighter regulations.
Well, they did that, didn't they?
But even more. Just fucking go overboard.
I mean, they screwed it up big time. They were like, well, we want to ruin this monopoly of Mercedes and Red Bull. We want to make it more competitive.
Now it's just monopoly.
No, you made it worse. You made it from 2 teams, at least 2 teams competing, you get some competition. 1 team, what's the point?
Yeah. So that's where Formula 1's at the moment.
Good job.
Good luck to them.
Get Michael Massey back in there. Let's do some motor racing, guys.
At least he'd make it entertaining.
Yeah, if you wanted to if you didn't know, me, Dopey, and another mate of ours went to the F1 in Melbourne a couple months ago. And yeah, it was a great experience. But the most memorable part of that trip was just everybody within us 3 just making constant references to Michael Massey and just stupid like F1 quotes. I mean, what did our other mates say? What was the one? Obviously the Michael.
No, Michael.
No. This is so wrong.
Yeah. This is so not right.
But there was another one. What was the other one that he kept on quoting?
Yeah. Fix your car or
the Christian Horner.
Your car is dangerous. No, you fix your car.
We have it in notes or whatever.
We have one of your drivers on the record.
What driver? Checo. But yeah, obviously there are great F1 quotes, and that's why it's a great sport. And it's a bit of it's probably sort of analysing. It's great for the sport. It's probably the most, in terms of gender, in terms of both genders following. I've never seen a sport.
Yeah, a lot of girls.
It is so, maybe tennis.
It's because they're all pretty boys, all the drivers.
So that's like a bit
Lando.
Sexist. Maybe they just like the sport, mate. Maybe they just like the drivers.
But also they're pretty boys.
Yeah, I guess. But I think it's because it was such a successful TV shows. I think it brought in a lot of fans that aren't necessarily sport. Like me and you, we follow a lot of sports, but I think a lot of F1 fans aren't necessarily fans of other sports, if that makes sense. There's just a lot of F1 fans, not a lot of that a lot of the F1 fans don't maybe follow, or a lot of the new F1 fans don't really follow other sports. So that's an interesting sort of feature about F1 that makes it a bit different. And hopefully that's good enough to help this one horse race every fucking time we fucking watch it. But yeah, it's going to lose viewers quick if fucking Max Verstappen gets 30-second wins every fucking race. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the podcast, and podcast out on all the digital platforms. Check it out on Spotify.
It's only out on 2.
YouTube. Just check us out. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like.
Subscribe, follow,
like,
share.
View. Show your buddies. Show your mates.
Yeah. Tell someone.
Show.
Word of mouth. That's powerful.
Yeah. Tell your mother.
Powerful stuff. Word of mouth.
Tell your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your dog, your dog's auntie, your dog's
sneaky link.
Yeah, tell your sneaky link. I don't know. Okay. Tell the sneaky link. But yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video, and peace. See you next time.
Peace.
Adios.